How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be featuring the Velos, the new Tier 8 Pan-European destroyer. After the first video that I featured of the ship, I thought I should probably try to get another video, mainly because I guess the first one wasn't the best showcase of, I guess, the strengths of the ship, which basically is the concealment that it can get with Swirsky, and then also, I guess, technically it's DPM, even though there's a few others that out DPM it significantly. It's actually still pretty close to the others that exist at the tier. So it's honestly not as bad as you would think. But yeah, I guess the first video we did land a lot of lucky torpedoes, and well, I don't know if we would really consider them lucky, considering the whole purpose was to use RPF and torp things, especially having a quick reload on the torpedoes. I mean, that's probably what you should be doing, especially against destroyers that you have no business in winning in a straight up gunfight, something like a combo. But yeah, in this one we're trying to, I guess, get a better showcase of what the ship can actually do. But yeah, so we're trying to play the objective, which you always should be in a destroyer, but we also note the enemy Lucian and Jaeger on the other team. Jaeger shouldn't be a problem, but I guess Lucian technically could be, especially with its stealth sonar capability and also super heal and having some pretty decent DPM with its HE, even though it's a pretty low alpha. But the cap gets contested, so we're trying to wait and see what's actually here. And in the meantime, we actually get spotted by sonar, so that basically answers our question. The Lucian's here, so we just turn away and try to leave sonar range as quickly as possible. Yeah, I'd rather not fight a Lucian in his smoke and sonar advantage, although I'm a little surprised he didn't shoot at all. I would have at least thought Lucian would try to shoot to deal some damage, but he just didn't. So now we're just going to wait out the sonar and I guess torpedo or gunboat in the meantime. And yeah, hoping torps somehow catch Lucian even with sonar. Probably won't happen, but we do know he's somewhere over there next to the Delaware. Delaware starts turning in very early, so we do know Lucian has already spotted the torpedoes, so he's basically off the like starboard bow of where the Delaware is, somewhere over there. And yeah, I also want to note that we had the short spawn. We had two ships here because it is a CV match. It was a Bismarck and myself, and you look at the map, Bismarck was basically sailing flat broadside to the whole enemy team that's here at A, and yeah, he's not doing well. We're shooting basically to take the attention off the Bismarck and hopefully have the ship shoot at us. Obviously the battleships that's behind the Delaware is too far, but we did actually get Delaware to shoot a salvo at us. But yeah, his salvo of HE sailed off the map, like actually off the map, which was kind of funny and amusing at the time. But yeah, we get a quick double fire on Delaware and he DCPs that, and we'll get our torp back because it's a 60-second reload. So now we're just hoping that our torpedoes are able to catch the Delaware, and then we can get a permaflood as well. And we do actually spot the Lucian, and he actually also almost eats a torpedo. So we almost had another game where we luckily landed torpedoes on a DD. But yeah, unfortunately Lucian does actually dodge that. It would have been nice to actually hit the Lucian to help us out with his super heal and HP and whatnot. But it's fine, he doesn't have his sonar anymore. We did wait it out, but he did also have his smoke. So yeah, we were trying our best to hit him with the smoke clouds and trying to trace where our shells were landing. But unfortunately, every time we use the overview camera and zoom out, the shells, or I guess reticle, goes a little higher. So it was hitting higher than we really intended. Bismarck had his sonar running at least and gets the Lucian spotted. And yeah, we're actually able to capitalize on this. We're basically melting Lucian's HP. His engine is out and he's not really moving, so that means he doesn't have unstoppable. At the time, I honestly wasn't really paying attention to that and didn't think much of it. I just thought he didn't have unstoppable. I didn't think about the possibilities of the build that he had. And we're going to find out later that he was actually running a fully packed build. And I guess in hindsight, it's a good thing I know what I'm doing. But anyway, Lucian is kind of escaping on a sliver of HP, so we're trying to catch up and see if we can finish him off, especially because there's a lot of battleships behind him in spawn, and I'd rather not have to try and fight him when he does have support, considering our whole team is on the other side. Even the CV started leaving and going that way. And it's basically up to me to slow down their 3 remaining battleships and their destroyer from doing anything. Unfortunately, once we get to the corner of the island, we don't spot the Lucian, and he does escape away to another island. And yeah, it's not looking good. We need to do something. I was hoping we could finish off the Lucian, but it's been so long. Now we're probably gonna have to wait out another sonar and try to, I guess, delay the enemy team, but it's gonna be very difficult to do. We're trying to get around the island, maybe finding him if he beached, but he didn't, and he does have his sonar again, so it's time to turn away like we did the first time and just simply leave his sonar range, especially with tier pits there and his secondaries starting to shoot. I'd rather not lose unnecessary HP. But also, I guess, luckily, the other battleships aren't really worrying about me. Tier Pit's also worrying about the torps that were probably spotted by Lucian. He was looking at the torps, trying to dodge instead of shooting me with his main guns. Problem is arising on the other side. The Jaeger, after he captured C, basically sailed past on the border and is now chasing our carrier. Our CV is, I guess, technically trying to find him with planes. But, yeah, cockroaches are gonna cockroach, man. Jaeger is actually like basically right next to our CV at this point, so not looking good. And yeah, I mean, full HP battleships, a destroyer with 1 rack of torps. Yeah, it's gonna be hard. I would have to land all of my torps on broadside sailing battleships sailing in a straight line, which technically that Iowa is. And I'm kind of hoping our friendly battleship that's north of B could survive long enough that I guess Iowa stays broadside and maybe even slows down for our torps, because I have a feeling they're a little too slow if he reaches full speed. But we had to launch it before the reticle went to the island, which we did. But yeah, looking at the tracking camera, those torps are definitely not going to reach, and we're not going to land nearly enough to save or even kill off that Iowa. But we are at least going to land 1. I was also trying to go south and get the broadside on the tier pits in the meantime, but yeah, unfortunately he took RPF off of the Lucian, so that gave him more than enough information to know that I'm pretty much sailing off to his right, I guess screen left. And yeah, he's gonna keep turning towards us. I mean, it could also be the CV being spotted by the Jaeger. Tier pits is probably trying to go after the carrier, and I mean, who wouldn't go after the carrier, really? But yeah, I see the tier pits turning. I thought he was actually going to beach and possibly bow and reverse away. But yeah, he didn't beach, and now those torps are going to whiff very badly. I was thinking about going after the Jaeger, but then seeing the Prevention chasing him and trying to help the CV, I figured it'd probably be better if I went to B, especially because now we know the Lucian is in B, and flipping the cap. Points are very close, although we are losing. If we let the Lucian cap B and then sail off, we're gonna probably be down on a lot of points, especially because our carrier is in a lot of trouble, and theirs is, well, maybe not. Maybe theirs is also in trouble. But obviously losing a carrier is not gonna be good if the enemy team survives. But tier pits, having to dodge carrier torps, he does turn broadside and does a pretty hard turn to dodge, and that gives us a pretty good look and an opportunity to torp tier pits broadside. Especially with how clumsy battleships are, I don't think he's really going to be able to turn back in before the torps show up, depending on, I guess, however many that I actually land. Lucian still isn't being picked up by my Perceptive, so we know he's sailing north. And we do actually land or torpedo on tier pits, and he's permaflooding. So now that I know he doesn't have a DCP, I'm gonna start shooting, I guess, as I get closer to the cap, so I can smoke up cap at the same time and possibly set a fire on him. We also get a Witherer, which I was sort of surprised by, but I think that Iowa that we landed a single torp on also flooded for a good chunk of time. So we got a decent amount of damage off of him as well, so additional stacks of our epic reload mod, which will definitely come in handy against the Lucian, especially because, well, I guess in hindsight he had 3 heals. When he didn't have Unstoppable because he had fully packed, he would be pretty healthy. 2 versus 4, Fletcher gets a, I guess, pretty clutch double strike, and yeah, we know where everything is. We know where their Amagi that was dragging his feet in their spawn the whole match is. He's full HP. And then we also know where the Lucian was because he was shooting, and then the Jaeger is basically somewhere south. But yeah, we want to get rid of Lucian while we still have our HP, because if we tried to fight anything else and then lost HP, there is a pretty good chance that we basically die because we don't have enough for a fight with an actual gunboat. Because obviously Jaeger only has 3 guns, so it's not that big of an issue. I use the island to pillar from the Amagi, and yeah, this is where I figured out that he had fully packed and not unstoppable, because when he had his engine out at the start, yeah, I thought he had just didn't have unstoppable because he was like a new player, especially with the way he was playing, not trying to fight an enemy DD. But yeah, we do get the Lucian out. We're able to follow the explosion puffs and basically shoot him even though he was unspotted in his smoke. And now it's a 2 versus 2. Amagi trying to actually turn back in and possibly get to B, maybe trying to contest, or I guess in general just try to help the Lucian, but we were able to finish him off pretty quickly. Jaeger shoots the Provincian before he gets behind the island and actually gets spotted, so that gives us a lot of information on where he's at as well. And knowing where he is and the Amagi is, we can basically do the same exact thing that we did with the Lucian, and that is use the island to pillar and basically isolate our engagements so we're not being shot at by everything. And yeah, we're picking up location from the Provincian, and our RPF finally switches over to the Jaeger. So now we know he is coming towards us. I just need to be careful if the Jaeger does have his reload boost, because we do see torpedoes that went after our Provincian. If he had a reload boost though, you probably would have been panic turning and then trying to launch all his torps last second. But yeah, he doesn't have his torps, they weren't reloaded. He also didn't have the booster, and I did turn away just in case he did, just so it would be maybe a little easier to dodge. Although, looking at this in hindsight, I may have actually beached and then died anyway. But yeah, he didn't have his torp tubes, and yeah, we have a decent points lead. All that's left is the Amagi, and yeah, there's no way we lose this. I'm not really willing to throw my ship away, although I do have 4 kills and I kind of want to crack in. And then yeah, I do start shooting, but I do see his guns are facing the wrong way. I'm trying to get a fire, and then as soon as I see his guns are starting to turn back, I start to smoke up, and I kind of hope that he blind fires, I guess, or gets smoke firing penaltied by shooting, and he does exactly that. Amagi being bow in and only having 4 guns, I think that was safe enough that we could get away with shooting him. We do land 2 torps, and I think that was the only time that I ever used the super narrow spreads. But yeah, we land 2 torps. Provincian sets a fire with like 1 shell, and yeah, luckily we do finish off the Amagi. I would have been very sad if Provincian's 1 shell that started a fire on the Amagi from his 1 shot at him yoinked it. That would have been so tragic. But yeah, we just kept shooting and we did actually finish him off. So another good game in Velos in the books, and even more XP than last time. And this one wasn't really any lucky torps either. We just played how we needed to. Obviously, we did have to work for this a lot more than we would have in a Lucian for sure, because Lucian has all the tools to make it easy. But yeah, no, Velos is definitely far from being bad, honestly. And I mean, even if you want to consider it mid, hang on, let's look at some numbers real quick. So Velos, no, so this is all with the same build, building with guns, reload mod in the fort slot, and whatnot. Velos has a 206,000 HE DPM, Lucian's at 222, Smalland 233, Chungmu 190, Hayate 227, Kita 240, Sumner 257, Jutland 165, and well, the Germans are basically pretty bad with HE DPM. So, I mean, of all the ships that I just listed and their DPMs, I mean, the only outstanding ships are Kita and Sumner, which, I mean, Sumner, you see a lot of 3 bars and torp builds. So are they realistically getting that actual 257? Probably not. Kita, probably need to worry a little more. But at the same time, I mean, it's still pretty clumsy. You can probably land torps. Lucian and Smallen, not as big of a gap in its DPM compared to Velos. And also, I guess, Hayate as well. So the DPM is honestly not that bad for having 4 guns. I mean, the other Fletcher at the tier that has 5 guns actually does less DPM with the same build than Velos. So it's not bad. And also, like I mentioned before, considering it's Swirsky and having concealment, you basically can pick your fights whenever you need to, which is a pretty big advantage if you ask me. But yeah, I don't know, Velos is just, I don't know, is it just me? I mean, that's possible, but yeah, definitely not as bad. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more, and share it with your friends, or leave a comment down below on other ships you want to see in the future and what you think of Velos after this. But yeah, anyway, till next time, aloha.